Boom! Let's get right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down one of history's most ruthless, high-voltage corporate rivalries. We're pulling straight from the source material to look at a battle of massive egos, stolen fortunes, and a truly cutthroat war that, quite literally, lit up our modern world.
So let's start with a hard truth and a completely unfiltered label from the sources. Scammer. Yeah, scammer. Textbooks, they love to paint him as this glowing father of invention, but the historical sources, they paint a much more ruthless picture. Thomas Edison wasn't just an inventor, he was an absolute shark.
And then, on the flip side, you've got Nikola Tesla, the ultimate genius, the classic brilliant underdog. Our source material really highlights this stark, fast-paced contrast between Edison, the brutal monopolist, and Tesla, the true visionary whose ideas were just light years ahead of his time.
Okay, Act 1, the 4 cents and the $50,000 lie.
The year is 1884. Tesla arrives in New York City all the way from Europe, and his entire net worth? 4 cents. Literally, he stepped off the boat with exactly 4 pennies in his pocket, a head full of these brilliant mathematical concepts, and just a single letter of recommendation. He had absolutely nothing to fall back on.
So he gets a job working for Edison. Now, Edison's massive empire was built on direct current, or DC electricity. But Edison's DC motors had some serious, fiery technical flaws. I mean, they were incredibly inefficient, constantly overheating, and sparking dangerously all over the place. It was a deeply flawed system requiring constant, exhausting maintenance.
Right, so Edison tells Tesla, hey, if you can redesign and fix my machines, I'll give you a $50,000 bonus. Well, Tesla works his absolute magic, fixes the supposedly impossible flaws, and rightfully asks for his money. And Edison, he just laughs in his face, tells him he simply doesn't understand American humor. No way, right? That $50,000 lie? To put that into perspective, that is the equivalent of $1.5 million today. Edison flat out stole his labor and kept the cash.
Which brings us to Act 2, the War of the Currents.
Because Tesla didn't just tuck his tail and walk away, right? He walked away to build a vastly superior rival system, fueled by massive, unprecedented financial stakes. Here is the core technical conflict. Edison's DC was short-range, incredibly expensive, and required these thick, dangerous copper wires strung all over the city. But Tesla's alternating current, AC, it could travel long distances without losing power, was vastly cheaper to produce, and used much thinner, safer wires. AC elegantly and completely solved every single dangerous flaw of Edison's DC system.
Now, Tesla's superior innovation wasn't just some quiet victory for science. It was a massive, direct threat to Edison's wealthy monopoly and his entire stock portfolio. I mean, if the world's adopted Tesla's AC, Edison's entire empire would literally go up in flames. He stood to lose an absolute fortune. And, billionaires generally do not like losing money.
Act 3, the dirty smear campaign.
Because when you threaten a monopolist's power and their wallet, they don't just concede gracefully to the better tech. Edison launched one of the most extreme, aggressive, and dirty smear campaigns in corporate history. Check these out. Danger of alternating current. Death by AC wire. Edison deliberately paid for and fed the press these fear-mongering lies to convince the American public that Tesla's superior technology was literally out to kill them in their homes. It is pure, unadulterated historical shade.
And guys, the receipts get even darker. To falsely prove to the public that AC was deadly, Edison secretly funded and provided the blueprints for the very first electric chair. Let that sink in for a second. The man famous for bringing the light bulb to the masses literally helped invent an execution machine just to brand his rival's technology as the current of death. That is exactly how far he was willing to go to win.
Act 4, Triumph and Tragedy.
Despite all the PR smears and those incredibly dirty tactics, truth and better technology ultimately won out. Tesla secured the massive contract to power the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. Imagine walking into those fairgrounds at night and seeing the entire world safely and spectacularly lit up in brilliant white light by Tesla's alternating current. It was undeniable proof. Just his ultimate spectacular technical victory over Edison.
But victory in science doesn't always translate to a victorious life. In his later years, the man who illuminated the globe was living in total isolation. He spent his final days sitting alone in parks, talking to pigeons, completely marginalized by the very industries he helped create. Nikola Tesla died on January 7, 1943, completely alone in room 3327 of the Hotel New Yorker. His net worth? $0. The tragic injustice here is absolutely staggering. A genius who gave the entire world its modern electrical grid died completely penniless, while others profited immensely off his mind.
History books universally remember Edison as the brilliant father of electricity. But based on the receipts we just unpacked today, was he really just a ruthless businessman who stole the future from the true genius? Let that question sit with you for a bit. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning what you read, and I'll catch you in the next one.